Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2017 Subaru Cross Trek, we're going to be showing you how to install the Roadmaster Brake-Lite Relay for towed vehicles. But before we do that, why don't we check it out and show you how it works. So the whole point of a Brake-Lite Relay is to make sure that everything is going to work properly in regards to the lights on the back of your Subaru. So what happens is whenever you're hooked up to your motorhome, and this is a scenario if you were not to have the Brake-Lite Relay, all right? So if you're hooked up to your motorhome, and let's just say you're on the brakes and using your turn signal at the same time. So maybe just to kind of give us an example here, if you're approaching a stoplight and going to be making a left turn. So we put our blinker on, get over into that turn lane, and then hit the brakes, and we're sitting there at the stop sign or the red light. What'll happen is that brake light will override your turn signal, okay? Because how it normally should work is your blinker would be going over here and the rest of the lights would be lit up with brake lights. What'll happen without that relay though is the brake light will override the turn signal and you'll have just all brake lights back here. Then of course your motorhome will be working like it should. The turn signal will be going. So you can see how that could be confusing to drivers behind you. They don't know if you're going straight or turning or what the deal is. So a brake light issue is going to solve that problem. Okay, so what that's going to do is allow the signal to still blink while you're on the brakes and everything will work like normal. So when it comes down to it, is a brake light relay absolutely necessary? No, it's not. But I mean, when it comes down to it, if you think about it, at that point, if the lights aren't going to work right, you might as well not even be using them at all, because they're not going to be doing you no good when they're not letting people know what your intentions are as you're going down the road. But other than that, that's really all there is to it. You know, getting it installed really isn't too bad. A lot of times you're going to have to be kind of under the dash anyway while you're doing your braking system and those type of things. So really not you know, too much extra while you're already there. So shouldn't give you a ton of issues. But speaking of that, why don't we go ahead, pull into the garage and hook it up together now. To begin our install, we're going to be underneath the driver's side dashboard here, and we need to get the Brake-Lite relay hooked up. So first things first, take your relay and simply just plug it into the harness, and now we can go ahead and start to wire it. So we're going to have a total of 5 wires coming off of the relay. The green wire here we're not going to be using, so I just kind of tape that up out of the way. And I want to mention, regardless if you have a keyed ignition or a push button ignition, you're going to want to wire it up in this push button way. And that's because in the past we've kind of run into some hiccups doing this keyed way. So push button way is going to avoid that. However, with that said, you need to make sure your tail lights are on when you're all hooked up. So turn the running lights on your motorhome. Nowadays, a lot of these newer ones come on automatically, so it's not really a big deal, because doing it this way, you're going to have those tail lights on for this to work properly. But with that said, first ones we're going to worry about is the black wire here and the blue wire. And these are going to run up into the brake light switch. And these are the 2 wires that are going to tap into that factory wiring. So the wire that we're going to be tapping into for our brake light switch will be the light brown wire with the white stripe. And so you're going to cut that in half, strip it back. The black wire here, that is going to go to the side that is running back to our taillights, if you will. The blue wire is going to go into the side that is closest to the switch. So I just use butt connectors to make that happen. And then this extra red wire here, this is from our wireless transmitter for our braking system. You may or may not have that, but if you have the stay and play duo like we have today, that's where that wire would go, and that's what that is. So for those of you that are wondering there. Now we have 2 more wires that we need to hook up, a white one and a red one. Both of these I extended with maybe 5 or 6 foot of wire and ran them out into the engine compartment. The white one's going to get connected to ground, and the red one is going to get tapped into the brown wire from our tow bar wiring, or diode wiring kit. So extended those wires and ran them right up through here. There's a grommet that I used to get them into the engine compartment. Now in the engine compartment, our wiring comes on through here. It's just in this wire loom. I ran it with some existing wiring. But here's where it comes out. So the wire that was connected to the red one from our BrakeLite Relay, like I said, that gets tapped into the brown taillight wiring from our diode. So just cut the diode, tie those wires together, crimp them in. And then if we follow this kind of back up and over here to the side, that's where our ground is going to be located. So right down in here, here's a ground post. This is where I grounded out the white wire to our BrakeLite Relay. Simply just crimped on a ring terminal, pulled out that bolt using a 10mm socket, slid the ring terminal over it, and tightened it back down. And that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the Roadmaster Brake-Lite Relay kit on our 2017 Subaru Cross Trek.